over others in our first match is going to be Min Min going up against Yoshi Bowser. It'll be Alola on the left hand side of your screen and Yoshi on the right. We're going to come in with Chakram Nade for Min Min, and we've got the hottest of slaps coming in with our electric missile. So hopefully you're all ready to see what the Seiki can do as we go into Sparring Ring. And it's going to be an interesting one for Alola to be fighting, considering the fact that Min Min is all about getting that dragon arm up. It just buffs up that arm, it permanently charges unless they get knocked down, and currently pinning Bite and Bark into the corner, not giving them a chance to really come out and utilize the missile, let alone the slaps, as it is a very heavy curved tool. The grab going to come in from Yoshi, keeps Alola on their toes and has to block out the Seiki. Doesn't have enough chance to get the Chakram up to temperature. They do now, just about getting it charged up, but immediately going to lose it via the missile on the left hand side. It is going to deploy the rush, does take out the unfortunate Bark and also gets Bite down in the process and uses that knockdown time to get the Chakram built up. But the rush is going to come out and explode right in Aloria's face. Immediately puts both players down into critical on the very first point, and the missile is going to make its way through before the Chakram can get there, and that is going to be the first point on the side of Yoshi Bowser. So a good start from Bite and Bark here, and they are going to continue with the hottest of slaps and the Seiki. Meanwhile, Alola, Nade is going to still be one of the arms to go for. It is an unguided arm, so it won't lock on as much as the other two, especially the Seiki. But in trade-off for that, it does have that little bit more power, that little bit extra damage. But high risk, high reward. But then again, Yoshi's playing a similar strategy as well, knowing full well that the missile can cause them a self-paralysis as the grab comes out of Alola into the corner. And look at how much pressure Alola is trying to put Yoshi in, but Yoshi's just not having any of it. Bearing in mind they've got the extra little punch from Bark as well, but again they are going to fall foul of Aloria's rush, but the health is relatively similar here. The Chakram does get the stun, and the shield is up to protect themselves against Yoshi on this time of asking. Chakram gonna miss, and again, just the slap just quickly comes in and just takes Alola out on the side. Grab is gonna negate that at the very least, and again, give themselves a little bit of a chance to get the Chakram arm back up. It's a bigger hitbox as a result, so it is more of a threat. And so far, they're keeping it at bay. Bark takes one for the team, and Yoshi doesn't really have many places to go here. Somehow manages to fight their way back into the center, but again, the Chakram is going to find its way around straight front and center. And that is going to tie up this match one apiece. So what is going to be the call here for Yoshi? It's going to be the exact same loadout. Not going to change anything. Neither is Alola. Both are comfortable here. But that is what I was talking about. The Seiki. It can cause a paralysis if it self-destructs too close to Yoshi. But having said that, they come back with a nice little stop there. Yoshi not giving an inch against Alola here. Not falling foul to this pressure. Finally does go down at the hands of that grab. And you notice how the Chakram immediately came out just to make sure the Bark does not get any kind of help for Yoshi. As long as Bark stays there, they can continue firing out that little extra punch, and also they can use the little extra boost that Bite can deploy as a result. But again, this relentless 1-2 combo from Yoshi has poked Alola all the way down on the cusp of critical. This rush can and will KO. It most definitely will now if it can hit. Another grab. Alola shielding the second they got up and immediately fell foul to it. And the rush will come out, but it's not going to cause any damage on this occasion. But having said that, Alola is one hit away, so they need to be incredibly consistent here. Chakram does get the hit, but it's Bark! It is Bark, the wonderful, goodest of Doges, who comes in with the actual finishing touch. And that is going to net Yoshi Bowser a point in this tournament. Good, the goodest of Doges, and Riffer likes to see that in the chat. And to be fair, I think we all do, with the exception of Alola. It's one thing to get the finishing touch on your own accord. It's another to have the wonderful Bark, who you can't really control in the slightest. Bark just does whatever Bark wants to do. To have Bark come in with the KO, it's beautiful, and it's part of what makes Bite and Bark a little bit more of an awkward fighter to deal with, because you have to consistently be on top of taking Bark out of the equation, because without Bark doesn't really have any abilities to really speak of. So it all comes down to how you utilize not just your arms, but Bark as well. And we are going to see a lawyer coming in with the with our wonderful Parasol here. So we're going to have a bit more of a windy effect. Going to try and juggle Yoshi a little bit more consistently. And does start off with a good time grab. Immediately pops Yoshi down. Yoshi going to come back out with the hardest of slaps. And the Seeky, but again, forcing the self-destruct in front of them. And that is going to be a quick paralysis. And the lawyer is going to be wanting to make sure they can turn this back as much as possible. And bearing in mind, we're now in DNA labs where both fighters will not mind so much the fact that we've got the tubes here, since both do have curved arms. But currently it's a lawyer who is hit way more consistently here, just always in a good position. And again, forcing the paralysis. Yoshi got a little bit of fortune being able to just about get under cover. But the second they woke up, they just immediately ate the chakram, so it just negated it completely. And it's definitely not a stage of Yoshi's pleasing here, because the lawyer is just dominant in that first point. Both fighters going to stick with their respective arms. The Parasol is a pretty quick tool and can kind of act as a little bit of a mini shield, but again, with the hot slap and with the missile both trying to curve around it, it feels like it's not going to do as much in that term. So it's all up to the Chakram, which to be fair has been hitting non-stop here, and that's going to be another successful rush on the side of the lawyer. Takes Bark down in the process, just about gets up, but the Seeky finally does power on through, and the second it hits, obviously it hits first and then does the shock damage with that big explosion second. So it's just rubbing it in, knowing full well that's a lot of damage coming their way. And that is a brilliant move there. Unfortunately couldn't quite get the second missile for Yoshi there, but how quickly that has turned their health deficit around. And if they can keep that momentum going, they may yet tie this point up. Already on the cusp of critical, a lawyer joins them there as well and gets caught with the grab as well. And Yoshi definitely not giving up anytime soon, looking for a couple more hits. A missile charge would definitely do it. And the lawyer has rushed, and they are going to go for it, and catches Yoshi. And that is going to take that 2-0. If the shield had came up, they would have been able to hold on, but unfortunately they were in mid-air. They'd committed to the jump, and a lawyer was not going to let them get away with that. It is 1 apiece. The first match of the tournament is going to go straight into match number 3. Credit where credit's due there on Yoshi's side of things. Just waiting for the grab to come out, had the rush ready, just blocked right on through it. Had they been able to get the juggle, that might have changed things completely, but it's, like I said, it's one of those things where it's all well and good to talk about the what ifs, but that was very much a turning point where Yoshi had to force a lawyer's hand, but a lawyer was in an advantage position at that point, having rush available, knowing full well they could have just at least catch Yoshi, especially when Yoshi is quite prone to be doing a fair amount of jumping. The rush was always going to land, so it's just playing that patient game, waited for Yoshi to make the commitment and then catch them and punish them, which is exactly what a lawyer was able to do, especially with the tools at their disposal. Parasol really working pretty nicely. We are going to see our first counter pick stage of the tournament. We are going to see Viadults on the first best of 3. So we'll see what these two players want to bring to the table. Both are going to stick with their respective fighters. Will they both stick with their respective arms? That remains to be seen. For Bite and Bark, yes. And do remember that Aloya does have that whammer in the back, and we are going to see it. We are going to see our good friend, the whammer, but immediately gets caught with the shark. Unfortunately, Yoshi was just a little too far away and had already committed, so they could not get the punish with the grab either. But already, you see how different this stage is compared to the other two we've had so far. It's a much more of a twisty stage. So you can definitely see why Yoshi is excelling at it just a little bit more. And obviously Min Min can try and go for this aggressive pin and force Yoshi into the pocket. But so far it's the other way around here. Yoshi's just not allowing a lawyer to get into a position to be able to utilize that kind of effect. And so far Bark is just providing that little extra shield as well. The Chakram is managing to stop it and does cause another self-destruct for the paralysis. Knocks Bark down and gets the Chakram up to the Dragon Arm status and follows in with a 1-2 stun punch. Immediately takes Yoshi down, but is going to turn the tides with the grab. Both remaining on relatively equal health here. Neither wanting to blink first with the rush. And finally it does go to Aloya. 365 gets the KO. And they just need one more point to book their ticket into round number 2. Very good start for Aloya there. Slowly came back into that fight, and you'd like to see that happen. It's going to stick with the Ram and the Whammer. Bearing in mind that because of the way this stage starts, Aloya essentially gets a free charge on the Dragon Arm, which is exactly what they keep going for. So it kind of helps them out in the grand scheme of things. I think they have inadvertently lost it, and does get grabbed down as well. Yoshi does have Rush available, and Aloya is going to slide all the way back into the corner. Not where you really want to be. You don't want to be consistently fighting out of there, but is going to get the grab. Catches Yoshi with the shield up. Knocks Bark down immediately, and Yoshi's just not able to utilize the Rush yet. And Aloya just baited it out of them and just waited. Just took the chip damage and nothing more. So a wasted opportunity for Yoshi there, but they're consistently trying to push Aloya back into the corner. But Min Min is a very mobile character, managed to just get completely over the commitment from Yoshi there and just punish in with a grab. And now the tables have turned. Having said that though, the shield does get broken and taken down, and despite not hitting that rush, oh no, another self-paralysis at the fort of that Tsiki, and that is going to be critical condition. Just about gets the shield up, so Yoshi's not going to go down anytime soon, but that was very, very sneaky and just about gets away with it. I thought they were about to go down by another 2-pointer, but not this time. The rush had to come out. Both will basically come into this final point with a reset now. They'll have to charge up the rushes the hard way. Ram does get the stun, but again, Min Min just too far away to capitalize on it and has to eat the entirety of that Tsiki as a result. This set is still anyone's to play for here as Bark does go down, and oh my goodness me, the AoE from the explosion is just so crucial at this point that even if you're just a little bit out of it, if it just catches you on the outskirts, it will still apply the shock, and the shock lasts for quite some time, which is why Yoshi was able to get that grab in the end. Slap just about missing this time round. Bark finally going to get taken down for the time being. Both players with Rush available. 1 minute to go, and that grab just about connected, and that should be able to tip it a bit more towards Aloya, but they have to be careful here. They're playing a very aggressive game. Finally just get the hit in. Just every single time they go in with the Chakram charged up, you just feel like it's only a matter of time before it finally does hit. And again, another little 1-2 poke is going to take it away from Yoshi. It just cannot do this in a straight 1v1. Does manage to get a Tsiki hit. 35 seconds left on the clock. And you just see how consistently Aloya wants to go for this, but the rush isn't going to hit. They'll utilize the time to just charge up the Dragon Arm, but they kept the shield up too much. They were way too close for it. And with 20 seconds to go, they're going to get punished here. The shot comes up. The rush is going to hit. And Yoshi is going to beat Aloya. Yoshi is going to progress into round 2. What a close set to start off the tournament. But the shock again just catches Aloya. And Bite and Bark is going to win it 2-1. What a start. What a start. And Yoshi had to be very patient there towards the end. They realized Aloya was just backing up. Went straight back into the corner to keep that arm charged up. And the AoE explosion just about caught Aloya off guard. And Yoshi suddenly realized, I have just enough time to get this rush out. And that was the KO. What a start to this competition. And we can tell you that Blobman got taken out by Okrim by 2 points to 0. So Blob will be down in the underground bracket along with Aloya. So it means that we will have Grimwood versus Yoshi Bowser, and we will have Riffer versus Okrim. But the match that we will be streaming next will be Alistar versus Replicant. So we are primed and ready to go for round number 2. Replicant versus Alistar. Alistar has been turning some heads since they've joined in on the fray. They have managed to make it to the top 3 once before, and they are determined to make it there again. And we are going to see a coil coming out, and it will be on the side of Alistar. Alistar will be on the left, Replicant will be on the right. Replicant coming in with Lola Pop. So what are we going to see on the first time of asking? We're going to see the Toaster and the Nade going up against the Tri-Bolt and the Lockjaw. And away we go. Lockjaw is one of the more unique arms in this game, where it will fire off a fireball projectile and then follow in with the rest of the punch. And the Tri-Bolts are going to try and slow down and hinder Coil in as many ways as it can. Coil just loves being in the air for as long as physically possible, and also gets a third arm on either side. It's randomized each time they charge up, so you'll either see 2 Toasters or 2 Nades, and if you thought 2 Toasters were bad enough, 2 Nades are not fun in the slightest to get hit by, especially with the explosions. Rush is going to come out from Alistar, but nothing's going to come of it for this occasion. Replicant just shields on away from it. And obviously Lola is quite the mobile character in and of herself, with being able to just inflate up and just waddle around with the shield still deployed. And Coil just going to just float on back, just blocks out the rest of this rush, so no successful rush between the pair of them. And so far Alistar was getting some form of momentum going, both going for the rush, but not rush, grab, but neither hitting it on this time of asking. Rush is going to come out once again from Alistar, but it's not going to land anywhere near, and gets punished by Replicant as a result. And Replicant so far in the pound seats here. They're able to find a way of slowing down Coil and just turning this back into their favor. 10 seconds left on the clock. They've got a bit of a health lead here, and Alistar needs a good time grab here to try and slice that down. They do get a hit here. Now with 1 second left to go, they had to land that grab, but it just did not come up, and Lola is going to get the better start of the 2. Replicant will lead this by a point. We've still got a bit of work to do. And so far, Replicant just waddles right on in and is going to catch in with the shock as well, changing things up. We got Tri-Bolt staying on, but we got that Parabola in as well, but immediately going to get punished. They kind of double committed there, and Alistar made them pay for it, finally getting the rush that they were looking for on the 3rd time of asking, and a grab as well. Alistar starting off a lot better in this point, realizing what Replicant is trying to play at, and actually got around the rush as well. Replicant definitely can sense that the tables are turning here. Finally does get a bolt to poke on through, and long range grab thwarted at the last possible second. The bolts are definitely proven to be a little bit more of a problem here for Alistar to deal with, but they had a much better start this time around. I guess switching off to pretty much triple Toasters has definitely helped them here a little bit more. It is going to block out the bolt, and this should be a shield break, and it is a shield break, and that sends Lola into critical. Yes, it does help charge their rush up a little bit quicker, but crucially, it means that Alistar just needs a couple more hits and a big time grab to come up. This could force another shield break, and not quite though. Alistar does get caught massively with it here, and Replicant could still yet take this. Just looking for a couple more hits, and the Parabola may not have been the best choice, but so far it's starting to finally catch on up, and no sooner have I said that Commentator's curse, it comes straight in and gets the finishing blow. And despite how bad that second point started, Replicant is going to take the points away. 2-0 against the Coil, and that was looking pretty feisty here. We didn't really talk much about the stage there, about how effective Mausoleum can be for both participants. Like I said, even when that middle platform does drop with the trampoline coming out, neither fighter would really be at a disadvantage against that. I mean, obviously Carl just flat out would negate it anyway, just by sheer will of floating around it. But even Lola, with that extra springiness, doesn't mind the fact that she's just able to just drop down onto the trampoline and then consistently bounce somewhere else. So you get the general idea. That stage is very much a neutral ground for both of those fighters, and despite the fact that Alistar started off much more aggressively in that second point, Replicant was just able to just slow it down, chip away back at it, and we are going to see Mausoleum coming back out again. Both players feeling that, you know, it's a comfortable place for each other to go. Now, do bear in mind there is a Phoenix back there for Replicant. We are going to see the Phoenix come out. Alistar is going to commit to the triple toaster tactic once again. Quickly punches through the grab and gets one of their own. And it's going to be dishing out the first damage initially. So they're really just hoping to just punch straight through here and try to just negate the Phoenix as much as possible. Bearing in mind the Phoenix is a curved arm. And pretty much every weapon bar the Tri-Bolt is a fire attribute, so as long as it hits in its charged up state, the respective fighter will just immediately drop to the floor. That is just going to be how it works. Both with rush available, and again, Alistar just can't get the initial hit with the rush to really send it back into their position. Having said that, Replicant can't even get to that position because Alistar gets a good old toaster hit before the rush can even start up. Both with a similar kind of health here, with the Tri-Bolt just missing on this occasion. And you just see how much Alistar has to move to keep that bolt as far away from them as possible. It could be an absolute pain to go up against, and the rush is going to connect this time around. 280 damage. It puts Replicant into critical, and the grab will seal the point. And Coil is going to nab this one on this occasion, but still a fair bit of work to do. Do remember that Replicant is up on this set by a 0.0, so Alistar needs to win this one. And we're going to see a very odd start there where the match just immediately started up. We're going to see Parabola coming out for Replicant again. Obviously does act as that little bit of a mini shield, and we'll see how this plays out. But unfortunately, the Brawler it's also a very slow arm to retract back in once it has been fully open like that, and you just see Alistar just nip away onto the side and just come straight in with that toaster, and it's what's able to punish them in the end. No grab connection on this time of asking, but Alistar says, well, you want to try it? Sure, I'll try it myself. And the grab is going to connect, both with rush available here, and it's going to be Alistar who blinks first. Again, sees an opening, comes in with 270 damage, and we are going to see Replicant try to be as aggressive as possible here. But so far, Alistar is getting the shield up in the nick of time, and we are going to see the toaster come down and immediately floors Replicant. And well, that's 2-0 matches back to back, but this time it's in the favor of Alistar, who picks up Replicant the second they go in with the wake up off the trampoline, face full of fire. And for the second time in a row, we're going to have another best of 3 go to distance. Now, when we generally have a coil fight, especially with Lola Pop, Mausoleum does seem to be like, we're just going to stick up Mausoleum for quite a while. Pretty much the entirety of the grand final from 2 weeks ago was very much we're just gonna play Mausoleum, and it looks like that's exactly what's about to happen. We're gonna go right on back. We're gonna go right on back to Mausoleum. So, Alistar and Replicant both gonna stick with their respective fighters. Now let's see if Replicant is gonna switch up anything. Yeah, we are gonna see Rep drop the Parabola. It was just not working out for them. Alistar knows how to deal with it now, so it's just like, you may as well just get rid of it. It's just not working out for you. And they are going to bring back the Lockjaw as well, so that extra little projectile, obviously Coil herself pretty much helping create that Lockjaw arm, so she'll have to deal with it now. And so far, Replicant just has their number. The toasters are just not even getting through here. It just goes to show that the second you switch up an arm like that, your playstyle just immediately differs, and just how often that fireball has been coming out. And this is on the verge of a perfect here for Replicant. If Alistar can't even get a hit in, none of the grabs are finding their mark. The shield is just going to block out, and the bolts hit as a stun. Replicant just couldn't quite get the punish, but they're looking to start this off with a perfect. Alistar finally finds the grab though, so it is not going to happen this time round, but still, one more hit is all Replicant needs, and this has been a dominant first start. And there it is, Lockjaw is going to take that point. Goodness me, Lola operated on a completely different level there, and just did not allow Alistar to get any semblance in that match. Another immediate start. We're going to see the Birdchuck coming out now, so slightly different tool. Grab is going to pop them straight back down. The Birdchuck has 2 ways of attacking, both on the ground and in the air, and Well, Alistar says, I could bring one in as well, and brings in the Fun Chucker, just immediately rattles on through. And this time, it's Replicant's time to do exactly the same thing. Roughly the same amount of damage from both of those respective rushes. Obviously, the Toaster gives that little bit of extra buzz to the rush. But yeah, Fun Chuck, essentially, it will stun. Bird Chuck will slow you down, and also rob your character of their abilities as well. So for Coil, that is crucial. It just takes away the ability to float up on up there. But Alistar is slowly turning this back onto their favor. And obviously, it's not just one Chuck you have to worry about. It's two, technically. Both arms forced to be weak here due to the fact that the Chuck was relentless. But both are in critical here. And Replicant has the advantage, knowing full well that they can absolutely end this with just anything here. And the rush is going to come out. And it does catch Alistar on the left-hand side. Nothing that they could do about it. And it is going to be Replicant who will be moving on 2 points to 1. Again, a close confrontation, but in the end, it does go the way of Replicant. Those 3 points there were relatively one-sided for the most part, with the exception of that last one where it finally both went into critical. But still, very nice showing from both players, and it is going to be Replicant moving on to winners semi-final. I can tell you now that we do have results coming in from the other matches. Grimwood and Yoshi have finished their match. Grimwood has taken Yoshi out by 2 points to 0. And Riffer has taken out Okrim by 2 points to 0. So we're just waiting on Iceman and Elemental to finish up. And then we will start with the semi-final matches. And I believe we will be sticking with Replicant as we now head on over to our first semi-final, which will indeed be reigning champion Grimwood to go up against Replicant. Obviously, we'll let you know what the underground bracket shapes up to be as we get word. As you can see, Iceman is still very much in their match with Elementa. So whilst we wait for these individuals to join back in, hopefully you're all doing well. I see you all enjoying yourselves in the chat, so I'm just going to quickly give a nice little shout out to you all. Raziel, hello to you. I know obviously Elemento is both watching and taking part. Same too is Riffer. And so too is Grimwood, seeing all those shields, those wonderful guardians being spammed. You'll love to see them, depending on your preference of arms. I know somebody who definitely loves the guardians. It'd be like that. We've got Grimwood in there as well. We've got Replicant in there. Nihilus is jumping in as well with the BNB hype. To be fair, it's been nice to see Bite Bark doing well in this competition. I know that Yoshi has been knocked out in round 2, but they're still alive. This is double elimination, remember. And Junior is in there as well. It is good to see you, Junior. Hopefully you're doing okay. And, I guess this is kind of a good moment to just get a nice little top-up of drink. It is very much needed. It's been a bit of a busy weekend, it must be said. Did some casting yesterday for some Rocket League. And so it's nice to be able to just step on back from that and do our usual fighting game shenanigans. And it looks like we are going to have a lobby up. Just going to wait for the password. And we will be good to go. So these two know exactly what they're up to. They know exactly what they need to do here. Grimwood coming in as the reigning champion, looking to retain the title. It'll be the first time someone will have successfully defended that since Riffer, where they held it from 47 through to 49. Since then, nobody has successfully retained the title, so we'll see if Grimwood is going to be able to do so. Just going to wait for them to hop on up. And for Replicant, they want to finally convert that back into one of their own. They didn't quite get what they were looking for in the previous tournament. But they did win it a couple of tourneys ago, the latest one being the 54th entry, so they're going to be wanting to scratch that itch and get their 4th title in the bag. Like I said, if you win at this point, you are automatically into the top 3, because winning here will put you in winners final. So it should be a lot of fun. It should be so fun from start to finish. And we do have an official tally. Alimento took Iceman to the wire, but losing out 2 points to 1 in the end. So the semi-final will be effectively the top 4 seeds. The top 4 seeds made it this far. So you've got seeded number 1 versus seeded 4 here, and seeded number 2 and 3 will be fighting off in the other one, which ironically enough is Riffer versus Iceman. So you'll have that to enjoy in just a moment. It also means the underground bracket has officially started as well. We've got Alimento going up against Aloria and Alistar versus Blorbman. The winner of the first match will take on Okrim. The winner of the second match will take on Yoshi. And obviously the losers will be out at this point. That will be their second defeat, and they'll be out of the competition. So it's everything to play for here. We're just waiting for our bands to start up. And it looks like the bands are just about done. So we are going to start our first semi-final up pretty much now. And we are going to see, for the second match in a row, we are going to see the return of the coil. And this time it's going to be Grimwood who is going to be coming out with the coil. We're just going to quickly switch the 2 players around, and into the match we will go. So, Replicant on the left, Grimwood on the right. Hopefully you're all looking forward to this. And yeah, it's another Lola versus coil. So, Hydra and Lockjaw for Lola. We're going to see, well, I say double nade, it's triple nade for Grimwood, but already being caught out at the hands of that projectile. But just look at those big beefy grenades just immediately come straight towards Lola. It's incredibly intimidating to see all of that happen. And obviously, instead of using the Tribolt here, we'll be having the Hydra come out instead. So again, it is a fire element as long as it hits in its charged state. And obviously, coil does like to be in the air. So it's instead of having to try to go as fast as possible, now it's just making sure that you just are not in line with those wonderful vertical fiery bolts. Again, another punch does manage to slip through onto Grimwood, but they're able to just be consistently agile here. They're just not giving Replicant a chance to really get into a position to capitalize on any hit that they come up with. Nades are just going to bounce harmlessly off of Replicant chip damage and nothing more, as the explosion again just catches Grimwood off guard. But Replicant trying to go for the high ball, just not going to catch it either. Grimwood knew they were going to go for it and just double committed to the jump and caught them out in the air. Having said that though, the self-destructs on the nades are catching up to Grimwood and does force them into critical. And that was just perfectly weighted there for Replicant. Waited for the grab to come up, just immediately rushed through it. Yes, they have utilized it now, and it does give Grimwood a slight advantage going into the next match. But crucially, Replicant just catching Grimwood out and not allowing them to come back in, especially as time neared its end. We're going to see a bit of a switch from Grimwood here. We're going to see Tri-Blast and Roaster coming out. So now we keep with the unguided gloves. Instead of it exploding, it's just big old fiery punches. And the grab is going to connect onto Lola. But on top of that, we've got, well, there you get a good example of it. 6 horizontal bolts instead of the 3. And each of them pack that little explosive punch. And the rush is going to power on through as well. 285. And suddenly this is a very different game here for Replicant and their Lollipop. So far the Hydra not as consistent as they'd like, and the Roaster is just completely catching them off guard. Finally does fire on through eventually, but again it's just trying to keep Grimwood out of the air and not allow them to come in with as many bolts as they have been, because again Lola does like to excel at that little widespread movement, trying to be in the air where they can as well, and the bolts will definitely put paid to that. Both missing with the grab and just immediately eating the rush, so the Tri-Blast just comes in with that little explodey goodness. Both players with rush available, and Replicant does have a chance to maybe take this set away, but with 20 seconds left to go, they are slowly inching closer to being knocked out themselves, so they're going to have to time this very carefully. And once they do get the rush out, they are not going to be able to get the punish, and with 6 seconds left, Grimwood is going to see if they can just hold on to this rush all the way into the next point, and in fact, they actually utilize it and get the KO after the after the time ticks down. I didn't think that they were going to go for the rush, but they decided to in the end, just to make absolutely sure that Replicant doesn't snatch that away at the last second. So both will now have to charge up their rushes all over again, but Replicant feels like they might have the confidence to just still take this from Grimwood, and I think that's what they're worried about here, as the Hydra just consistently now finds a way through, and the rush initially got the clip, but does not get the rest of it. Grimwood tried to get a grab to try and at least punish a little bit, but look at the health deficit already. Replicant, with so many more consistent punches here, has already taken Grimwood into critical, and our reigning champion is being knocked for 6 here, and that is just the white flag right there. And well, Grimwood is not going to take the first point here. Our reigning champion is going to have to come back off the back foot here, as it's Replicant who takes the initial point. So I had a feeling that we might see some coils coming out. We've seen one from Alistar and one from Grimwood, but right now, I don't think that phases Replicant in the slightest. They are comfortable with this. And we're going to see what Grimwood's response is going to be here, because we went from having a match where the Hydra wasn't really hitting as much to a match where the Hydra was hitting every other punch. And that's just incredible. That's incredible consistency from Replicant there. So we'll see if they can tie this back around. And well, we are going back to Mausoleum, but there's a twist to this tale, because Grimwood is going to be coming in with Kid Cobra. So if you wanted well, we got a different kind of agility here, because we're going to see a clapback and a popper coming out from Grimwood. And Cobra is a very slippery customer. You'll just notice that when they do their little side dashes, they are just newman all over the place. So Replicant will need to find a way of slowing this Cobra down. They're coming in with the Phoenix and the Lockjaw again. The clapback is going to do exactly what you just saw there. The projectile hit the clapback and just propelled it straight back into Replicant's face, which is pretty much why they ended up being knocked over there. So it's a dangerous tool. Yes, they've got the tool, the arm, the Phoenix, to be able to curve around it and negate it for the most part. But it's getting into that position to do so, and if the Lockjaw consistently bounces off it, it's going to give you a little bit more trouble. Phoenix is going to sweep Grimwood off his feet, but just immediately just go straight in with the popper. And obviously the popper is such a lightweight arm, it's so quick that it's just going to catch Lola by surprise each and every time. And the grab does big time damage straight onto the middle platform, weakening it up, and crucially taking the point away. Both players will have rush to go, and we're going to see Replicant do a little bit of a switch here. We're going to see the Hydra coming back out, and immediately Grimwood goes in with the rush and actually catches with it. 315. I think Replicant might have expected that kind of play, but I don't think they were expected to be as ferocious as that. And the trampoline is out on display, and again, both players won't mind it so much. But crucially for Replicant, it actually makes it a little bit harder for them to find a way of hitting Grimwood here, because it just walls them out. Rush is going to finally come through. Did get the initial hit in, but Grimwood holds their ground, gets the shield up, but just blocks out the rest of it. Hydra catching Cobra at the peak of the jump. And the rush came in as well, but again, it baited out a response from Replicant. Juggles on up. Replicant sits on 1 HP, and this, well, it's overkill, but it's a KO nonetheless. Cobra just comes right on in, grab deployed, and that is going to tie this up once again. 3 matches in a row in this tournament. We are going to see match number 3. And that was just a completely different match. Not just with the fact that Grimwood came in with Cobra, who operates very differently from Coil, but it almost seemed one-sided at times, especially in that last point where Grimwood realized that Replicant couldn't properly deal with how quick Grimwood was coming in. The clapback was just walling them off, and the popper is such a quick arm that yes, it can be punched through by anything, but Cobra can use that to their advantage because they're so quick, able to get into positions that Lola just can't quite reach. And every single time that happened, the popper would just come through. And especially with the trampoline out, suddenly Lola has even less places to be able to punch on through with. So that was a dominant show in there from Grimwood, and we are going to see Mausoleum finally get pushed away to the side for just a little while. We're going to get the sunshine in, because it's time for Buster Beach. Both players will remain with their respective characters. We're going to see Hydra and the windiest of slaps this time around. Oh no, we're not. Not the Hydra. We're going to see the Roaster coming out, and it will be clapback popper once again. So we're going to see if Replicant can fare better with a different curved arm, but so far Grimwood immediately, consistently going in for punch and grabs that Lola just keeps landing right back into. Grimwood operating on a completely different level here, and the clapback is getting in on the action as well. And there seems to be nothing Replicant can do. This is just too much. This is going way too quickly for Replicant, and they're just not able to slow this down in the slightest. Finally, they do get a roaster hit in, but look at the damage already done at the hands of Grimwood. Slap does catch them at the peak of their jump, and now it's Grimwood who now has to just wait it out in the hot pocket. Finally slides back on in, and another grab sends Replicant down 1 HP left on the bar. The clapback just sends the roaster back, and Replicant just slowly walks up to Grimwood, but Grimwood not intimidating in the slightest. The popper is going to land right at Replicant's feet, and oh my goodness me. Grimwood did not slow down until that roaster hit, and even then the damage was already done. And Grimwood is looking to try and turn this around, and well, they are going to start off down in the hot pocket area, but the rush is going to come out. Replicant committed way too early, and Grimwood just waited for it to happen and then capitalized on it with the rush, and there was nothing Rep could do about it. And the grab again, the shield just up for way too long, and Grimwood says thank you very much, that's another little punish for yours truly. And again, even when they finally get Grimwood down, the clapback has already reflected the Hydra, and again it just slows Replicant down. It takes them out of that position. Rush is going to come out, shield is just going to block the rest of it, and again Grimwood with the sheer confidence to just zoom on in, and that didn't even feel close. Grimwood completely annihilating Replicant, showing why they are the reigning champion, and they will book their ticket into winners final with a very dominant showing with that. Oh my goodness, Cobra. What can you even say about that match? That was relentless pressure from start to finish. I almost felt like there was nothing that could be done there. It's like, how do you slow down a Cobra who is currently operating on all of the confidence, all of the momentum in the world? And the answer is you just can't. It just, no matter what Replicant brought to the table, it just did not work in that match on Buster Beach. So it be like that sometimes, but we're now going to move swiftly on into our second semi-final, and this is going to be another one of those matches. So, Riffer versus Iceman. Both of these two competitors have won this cup 12 times. both are looking to try and tie the record of 13, which is currently held by Yatta. But so far, it just seems to be slipping away from the pair of them. A lot of people are jumping on up and taking those crowns away from them when they least suspect it. So it's going to have to be between the pair of them to decide who makes it to winner's final and who can keep the challenge alive. Ninjara versus Lola Pop. Riffer on the left, Iceman on the right. We're going to see Tri-Blast and Ice Dragon coming out for Ninjara. Meanwhile, Lola's bringing in the Popper, as we saw expertly used in the previous match by Grimwood. And also the Scorpio, which just like the Chucks, also have two ways of attacking. One where we have the Scorpion Scuttle on the ground like so. Nice little example. And if Lola does decide to utilize the bounce, it'll turn into a Frisbee. And we'll see if the disc can do damage. But it's not going to. And to be fair, neither does Riffer's Rush. Riffer's Rush is not going to catch on this occasion. And obviously Ninjara, I have to quickly mention their wonderful little ability that allows them to just teleport if they successfully block an attack. It makes Riffer a very hard target to pin down on a rush. But so far, Iceman has their number here. The Dragon is not being able to get utilized as much as Riffer would like to, as it gets boxed down by the Scorpio. Remember, the Popper is going to try and go for the juggle and gets it perfectly. 360 damage and a stack of 2 on the poison, and the Scorpion just comes in for the finishing touch in Iceman. Iceman with an amazing start to this entire match. And the Popper and Scorpion, it's a deadly combination. One is a very quick arm, the other can stack poison all the way up to 3 and just forces you to stutter a little bit. And again, Riffer can't get anything on their rush, consistently jumping on down and letting that Scorpion just nibble at his toes. And Riffer is just being outboxed here, outperformed by Iceman, who is just coming in with a lot more aggression. And the Popper is just consistently juggling up. And this is more damage coming up. 320 again from Iceman. And Riffer is already in critical. And another grab is going to take this away. Riffer has not had a chance to get back into this match. Finally, the Dragon does connect. But it just hasn't been working all match. And Iceman takes a relatively straightforward point away from Riffer. And I don't use those words lightly, my friends. That seemed like a completely different fight than I'm used to seeing between these two. Neither player wanted to change anything. We're going straight on back to Temple Grounds. The 4 pillars pretty much not really being in play at all in that match. But Iceman was just consistent there. And Riffer is still going to come in with the Tri-Blast and the Ice Dragon. So they're confident that they can make the Dragon work here. But Iceman has been able to shut that down every time so far. Finally, Riffer does get a much better start. And obviously the Dragon does excel at that range, which is what they want to use it for. But they've got a lot to come back from after how that first point ended. And to be fair, they're making it work this time around. They're using the pillars as a decent advantage here. And remember, Ninjara is quite the agile character as well, and definitely wants to utilize the fact that if they don't, that they can't really properly block, they just teleport right back out. And as long as the pillars are up, it gives them that little bit extra protection. They do have Rush available to go. Iceman has definitely taken much more of a beating here, and the bolts are going to make absolutely sure that the Dragon roasts right on through. 370 damage onto Iceman, as they get finally juggled just a little bit more on the grab, just about hitting the wall. I thought it might have recognized it, but not to be on this occasion. 40 seconds left on the clock, and Iceman is just a poke away from going down. And there it is. The bolts land, and Ninjara takes this right back into their favor. And straight back into the grand scheme of things we go. Iceman not going to switch from that Popper Scorpion combination, but crucially Riffer has dropped the Dragon, so I wonder if they are beginning to realize that the Dragon might not be the best tool to use. And they actually do catch Iceman again here, 365. And obviously the windiest of slaps, just keep an Iceman in the air to keep that damage racked up as much as possible. And again, just catches Lola out. able to get between those little moments where the shield is just not deployed between the waddle and the jump state. And Iceman just can't seem to get a good read on Riffer anymore. But they do finally manage to fire on through with the rush. 350, make that 370, that little extra 20 tap just finally pops it back into their favor a little bit. Although having said that, Riffer does have the potential to KO from their respective rush if they can land it. But they might not need to do so because the Tri-Blast and the Slap alone are just keeping Iceman out of contention. And that was an unfortunate double commit from Iceman. And Riffer will punish that. 2 points to 0. And sometimes you might get tired of hearing this, but I'm not going to be tired whatsoever. Because for the first time, I think, in my time of casting this competition, all 4 matches on stream so far have gone to match number 3. What a streak this has been. I'll tell you that right now. You are absolutely getting your, I say your money's worth. You're not paying for anything here. You're certainly not. But you're certainly getting everything you could possibly want out of this tournament, especially for the length. Every match has gone the distance. Every set has gone the distance so far. And we are going to see Scrapyard coming out. The second counterpick stage does make an appearance as Ninjara and Lola continue their dance. From 4 pillars to 2 and a lot of height elevation, which Lola will gladly try and take advantage of if they can. And Riffer is going to try and come back in with the dragon. Ironically enough, Iceman comes in with an ice dragon of their own, so drop in the Scorpio to see if they can out-dragon the Dragon Master himself. But we'll have to find out. Iceman not getting off to a good start, already down to the halfway mark, and again caught out by yet another ice dragon attempt from Riffer, who is just, it's just incredibly consistent now. The bolts are landing and the dragon is just there to tidy up just on the off chance the bolt doesn't quite find its mark. And the damage really has been done. Another 1-2 combo with the bolt and the dragon straight through the heart. And Iceman, having had such a dominant first match, has just watched Riffer bounce right back into it. And Riffer very much is in the driver's seat right now. Both with rush available to go, but Riffer is not going to worry whatsoever. The dragon just about takes down the pillar. 300 damage does go through in the end. And Iceman's not going to like that in the slightest, because now the pressure is on him to get the rush, and actually does make it work. 360. Note that they have dropped the dragon in favor of what was working in the first time of asking, which was the Scorpion. And Riffer, just like that, is going to drop that health lead. With the pillars no more, Iceman is now trying to just negate that dragon as much as possible. Not allow Riffer to get any utility out of it, but the bolts continue to guess exactly where Iceman is going to go, and Riffer has rush ready to go, but they may not even need to utilize it. Scorpion is going to miss, but the dragon certainly wrote, and Riffer, just like that, is going to swipe it straight away from Iceman. And it's going to be Riffer who gets the better of them. Despite how that set started, Riffer came back with a vengeance. And Riffer makes it on through to winners final. Commiserations there from Iceman. Like I said, they had such a great start there. But in the end, it's just not to be. Riffer found the answer, managed to get the no you on temple grounds, and then even going to Scrapyard just continued to play their own game, and Iceman just could not get a chance of slowing that dragon down. And like I said, even when they were finally starting to put the pressure on, the Tri-Blast every time was finding the exact moment that Lola was going to be dropping down into and would just take them out completely. So it is just how it goes as we now prepare ourselves for winners final, and it will be Riffer to go up against reigning champion Grimwood. Whilst we await for these two to join into the lobby, we do have some information in the underground bracket. Eloya is out. Eloya gets knocked out by Elemental by 2 points to 0, and Alistar takes out Blobman by 2 points to 0. That took the bear both into the underground bracket, where Elemental's journey then ended. They lost to Okrim by 2 points to 0, and Yoshi, unfortunately, after such a good start, taking out Eloya in that initial set, they then lost to Grimwood, and then they lost to Alistar. Alistar knocking out Yoshi in the underground round 2, also by 2 points to 0. So all of the underground matches have gone 2-0 so far. It means the underground bracket will be continuing as we await for winners final. Those 2 matches down there will be Replicant versus Okrim and Iceman versus Alistar. They are essentially fighting to make it into... is it top 4? Yeah, they'll both be making a claim for top 4. It's as simple as that. So whilst we wait to see what will be going on, we're just once again going to take a little bit of a breather. Both players will be with us very, very soon. And when you do come back, we will progress onwards. With the next part of this tournament, I will quickly take a little bit of a breather myself. Both participants are having a bit of a break as well. But yeah, when we come back, it's winners final time. First best of 5 of the stream. See you in a moment. And my friends, we are back with the 56th installment of the EU Arms Challenge Cup. We are about to start with winners final. Riffer will be taking on reigning champion Grimwood to see which one will be booking their place into the grand finals. For a chance at winning this cup, it will either be Riffer going in to try and get that 13th win, or we are going to see Grimwood successfully retain their crown. It has been exciting to watch from start to finish, and I can already tell you that Replicant has taken out Okrim in their Underground 3 match, so they have made it into top 4. They will take on the winner of Iceman versus Alistar, so we'll keep you informed of that when we get the news. But until then, my friends, we have got this fight to line up for you. And do remember that all 3 finals, the winners final, the underground final, and the grand final itself, will all operate on best of 5. So we've seen 4 matches out of 4 all go to distance. Can this happen here in our first best of 5? We are going to find out. Riffer on the left of your screens, Grimwood on the right, Ninjara versus Coil, Triblast and Ice Dragon versus Tribolt and Roaster, and off we go, my friends. And well, straight to Mausoleum. We've seen this place so many times today already. Coil does excel at it, and Ninjara, you know, Ninjara's okay with this as well. But so far, you just see how quickly Grimwood starts doing their wonderful little shuffle. And to be fair, Riffer does exactly the same, knowing full well that as long as they can block something, they'll continue moving thanks to their wonderful teleportation ability. So far, both players not scoring as much as they'd like to with their respective bolts, and obviously Ninja has a few more to deal with if the charge does come up on the left-hand side. So at any moment it could be 3 or 6, and well, Grimwood will definitely feel hard done by there. They got the stun, went for the rush, and Ninjara just slipped away onto the left-hand side, which was just unfortunate for Grimwood. That would have been a really great move for them, but unfortunately it's not to be on this occasion. But thankfully, Riffer doesn't connect with theirs either, although they do get a follow-up hit with the Tri-Blast. And look how quickly Grimwood is able to just slip outside of Riffer's point of view. Just how quick Grimwood is being able to utilize those wonderful wonderful motors that Coil possesses. Already though, gonna have to be careful though. Arm weak on the right hand side, and is gonna lose out abilities, but baits in the grab as a result, and gives them the health lead with 10 seconds left on the clock. Now Riffer does have rush available, but they get caught. They double committed, went for the rush redeploy, but unfortunately, the bolts found them first. And Coil, well, Coil is just going to laugh in the ninja's face and is going to take that point well away from them, and also get that little bit of extra boost at the start as well. Quickly down to the slappers. We're going to see Riffer coming out with a slightly different tactic, but immediately jumped right back down at the hands of those bolts. And sometimes it could be very difficult to go up against Coil. It's just a literal moving wall sometimes, especially when you see all of those bolts coming right at you. But Riffer is slowing this down and consistently scoring with the slap, and it's just sending them hurling across the arena. And Grimwood, as a result, already down past the halfway mark, and Riffer, just like what happened in the previous match, in the previous set, where we saw Replicant just slowly turn Grimwood's playstyle on their head, thanks just knowing how to operate against the Coil. Riffer's doing exactly the same thing, and it's starting to go their way once again. Both with rush available here, but Grimwood is nowhere near a spot to really utilize. Although having said that, they just decided to play very aggressive there, and Riffer had no response for it at all. And don't think that Grimwood isn't going to try that again, because 2 successful bolt hits in a row means that both are in critical. And this could go either way here. The slap just about connects onto Grimwood, but Grimwood gets away with it. Riffer could not get a successful punish going, and the bolts are going to get shielded out again. Riffer has the health lead crucially here with 10 seconds left on the clock. Who is going to blink first? It is going to be Grimwood, but they're going to have to be careful here. But the rush tail finds a way through. It just about found the way through, and Riffer, I think, might be level here. What is going to happen? It goes to Coil. Oh, Coil snatches it. That must have been millimeters in it, if that. I saw the chip damage come up on 5, but it wasn't enough. And Riffer I feel like he'll be fuming at that, but Grimwood takes it away. What an interesting way that match ended right there. Grimwood will be breathing a sigh of relief. Because he must have thought that that could have been enough to either be a draw, or it would have just taken it away from Grimwood. But in the end, the game says Grimwood takes that, and whilst that does take Grimwood in the lead, and it was by 2 points to 0, by the way, that does not tell you the whole story. Riffer was absolutely in that from start to finish. We're going to see both fighters coming in once again with their respective characters. Triblast and the windiest of slams are going to come back out, but we're going to see Grimwood switch to the Chakram, and remember that's going to be two curving discs coming right at you, and obviously Sparring Ring is a much more condensed stage. There's nowhere to really hide, and you can get pinned into the corners if you are not careful. So Ninjara has to make these 1-2 combinations count as much as they can, because once again Grimwood is going to try and be an absolute wall to punch through. Slap is going to come out, and unfortunately for Riffer, I thought they might have enough time to get the shield up to deflect the rest of it, but they don't. However, they are going to come back through and get a juggle of their own. 280 on the rush. It means that both are, I was going to say relatively level, but not anymore, because 2 successful wind slaps in a row for Riffer is going to turn this match completely on its head, and the Tri-Blast just seals the deal. And Riffer is going to take the initial points here, seeing if they can tie this set up by 1 apiece, and immediately catches Coil with another windy slap to the face. And Riffer definitely having a much better time here on Sparring Ring against Coil. And whilst the bolts come out, oh, one of them had to catch him. No rush on this time of Askin, and the Roaster just floors them as well. But having said that, anything you could do, I could do better. And Riffer also cancels the rush with a Tri-Blast of their own. And suddenly Grimwood is going to have to think about how they want to play this out here, because Riffer now is on an absolute tear, playing as aggressive as they can, but unfortunately just a little bit too committed there as Grimwood takes it down from the side. But Riffer has not only got the advantage again, but they've got rush ready to go. Shield will break from this thanks to the fact that the slap does really rinse through that shield pretty quickly, and the arm is still weak on the left hand side there. The Roaster gives Grimwood a little bit of breathing space. 35 seconds on the clock. Riffer does have the edge here, and the rush is going to come out and is going to pin Riffer against that corner. Both on similar health. A punch apiece will knock each other out here. And we haven't seen a double KO for quite some time. I know I said that last time around and we got a draw as a result, but with 20 seconds left on the clock, Grimwood finds a way through. The Tri-Bolts just passing on through. Ninjara couldn't get the shield up in time, and Grimwood is going to take this to another point. And once again, Riffer, the second they started playing that little bit more aggressively, Grimwood found a way of slowing it down, and a little bit of luck siding with them in the end. Roaster does come on through yet again. Riffer just needs to find a way to keep this consistently going. They're always in the center stage and not allowing Grimwood to really get back into it. And every time the bolts are coming in, it is knocking Grimwood down, but they're finding a way to just tag this back in, keep their health level as much as they possibly can, and take it to the wire. Rush is going to come out and tries to catch Riffer out. Does at least get 105 in there. I think really having to realize that they had to play that very patiently just to try and get any kind of damage in, and gets a grab to make up for it as well. And now it's Grimwood's turn to try and jostle around on that center stage, but Riffer quickly zooms back on into it, and the Tri-Bolts, the Tri-Blasts are just consistently taking Coil down and now sends them into critical condition. Riffer is just a rush away from taking this down, but Roaster is going to keep this very much on par, and the shield comes up in the nick of time. Both arms weak, and Grimwood somehow stays in on this, and this is going to be a very interesting way to finish this matchup. Oh my word, it's the bolts that seal it. The rush came out from Coil, and Ninjara was already committed, and the bolts made it there before the rush could get deployed. And Riffer with some very opportune reads, is going to tie this set up 1 apiece. Incredibly quick and incredibly consistent, it must be said. And there was nothing stopping them from taking that one away. So it does mean that it is 1 apiece, and we are going to see a change of color palette for Ninjara. And normally when that happens, that means we're going to see a new batch of arms coming forward, and that's exactly what's happening. Do remember that Coil does have that big non-elemental buff in the back, and we are going to see it be utilized here alongside the Tribolt. Riffer coming in with the Popper and the Lockjaw. So once again, we've got Coil going up against one of her own creations, the Lockjaw, because of course that had to happen not once but twice. I think it's happened 3 times actually in this tournament now. I could be wrong. I might have remembered poorly. But in either case, our 3rd match in the best of 5 winners final. And Riffer is starting off as he hopefully means to go on. The Popper is a very quick arm, so Coil can punch through it, but has to be very careful with it. But having said that though, Riffer knows full well that anything can punch through it, so they have to hope that it finds its mark first. And unfortunately, the Popper is just going to immediately get retracted. Lockjaw could do nothing to prevent it either, and Riffer has to take all of that rush. And Lockjaw's projectile not quite finding its mark here, and Ninjara getting caught onto the platform. They don't particularly want to see that trampoline coming out because Grimwood will just flat out ignore it. And arm weak on the right hand side, Riffer continues their relentless assault here, as the Popper does find another way back through it. Mostly the Popper that does seem to be connecting at the moment. The Lockjaw is very much a bit of a wild card at the moment. It's not quite finding the mark as much as Riffer would like it to be doing so. And the Bolt is going to slow them down yet again. 15 seconds on the clock. Who has the health lead here? It's very, very level. And with Rush available, it's not going to be level for long. Grimwood takes the lead with 215 damage. 5 seconds on the clock. Will Riffer decide to blink at this? Oh, they do so! And doing so in style! The Popper lands, it juggles them in the air, and Riffer goes, thank you very much. As long as I hit with this, that is not not missing it from this range. That is my point, and it takes it away from Grimwood. So Riffer playing that again incredibly patiently and just about takes it away. And you have to wonder now what the decision is going to be here from Grimwood. Obviously the buff is gone. We're going to go back to the roster, our unguided goodness, and you never know. That unpredictable nature of the roasters could be what keeps Ninja from doing what they want to do. And well, the rush certainly caught out, got 205, didn't get a finishing touch in there, which is a bit weird. And the Tribolt again slams Riffer back down. I think it just about caught the platform. And with 60 seconds left on the clock, we'll see if Riffer can yet again turn this back around. The slam does come out, but so far, I say the slam, it's not the slam at all, it's the Popper. It does just about nail the platform once again, but so far that Popper is again just managing to find a way of poking on through, but it's not doing as much damage here as Riffer would like to. They're not getting as many hits in, and the Lockjaw just continues to just misfire all over the place. Just every single time it goes, Grimwood is already well out of the way of it. But the Juggle is going to come up and deal so much damage, and just like that, Grimwood goes all the way down into critical and just about glides back into Riffer's path to deal just enough damage. But having said that, Riffer has health lead here, and you can see how aggressive Grimwood is trying to be here. 10 seconds on the clock. Roaster hits, and so does the Bolt. So Grimwood once again goes into the last 5 seconds with health lead, and this time around they are going to get the KO punch, and Riffer drops down 1 apiece. It's 1 apiece in the set. It's 1 apiece in this match. Who will take the lead of this best of 5 set? Well, Riffer gets the initial first push. Unfortunately, the grab just a little too off. Just a little bit too off. And that's just mainly down to Coil's ability to be invisible until they get the wake up. And the rush is going to punish as well. 285. Which is why sometimes you'll just see Riffer just close on in and go for the grab. But Grimwood is just not in that place. They're just a little bit too far away. Riffer does have rush of their own, and they've had some good consistent hits so far. The Grimwood is again just trying to turn it into this mobile wall and just not let Riffer get anything through. The Chakram has came up, but so far it's not doing as much as they probably would like it to. And already down to the halfway mark. Finally, it does catch Coil and just nicks them down and actually disabled their arm temporarily there as well. So Riffer slowly chaining it back in, but it's going to see them go on the cusp of critical. And bearing in mind that Grimwood does have rush here, crucially then, Grimwood's rush will KO from here and is going to wait it out. And actually decides just to go for the shield instead, because knowing full well that Riffer was going to get the better of that exchange. And actually falls to a grab here. Now this puts them on similar kind of health. Grimwood with a slight, and I mean slightly, but not anymore. Riffer just needs to have one more little poke here, and that will take it away from Grimwood. And they absolutely notice with 15 seconds on the clock. Arm showing damage on the right hand side. The popper pops through. The quickness of the popper finally makes it into Coil. And Riffer is going to turn this set around. It's 2-1. 2-1 to Riffer when it matters the most. One more point will see them go into the grand final. Grimwood will be determined to take this all the way to match 5. Riffer has Coil's number of that. There is no doubt in Grimwood. Unlike in the previous set, where they switched to Kid Cobra, if you remember, to go up against Replicant, they're sticking with the Coil. And they've also switched out that buff as well. So that buff is gone, and they're going to bring in a chakram of their own. So Grimwood going in with all of the stunned arms that they could ask for. So it's going to be 6 stun bolts or 2 big chakrams. And look at the difference in playstyle that Grimwood is immediately coming at Riffer with. Riffer sticking with that popper and lockjaw combination, but they know this is going to be a very, very different fight here. And like I said, it's just the second you switch in a different set of arms, it changes how you play that character, and suddenly you're going to have to improvise a little bit more than you would like to. Bolt and chakrams knowing full well that if Riffer gets caught on any of these, a rush will likely be imminent. But the 1-2 little punch is going to keep Riffer off his toes, and the rush is going to come out anyway, avoids the lockjaw hit, and that is 240. And Grimwood, already with a lot of confidence, breaks the arm of the left side stand as well. And Riffer is already in critical. Like I said, Grimwood is just operating on a completely different level here. All of the speed and nothing but. 370 finally does come on through, and Grimwood is able to turn that... Oh, sorry. Grimwood is able to... well, I say able to. Has to. Watch as their health just dips right on down, because that is just how much damage the lockjaw can do in its juggled up state. But it doesn't matter in the end. Grimwood gets the finishing touch with the bolts, and this could yet go to another distance here. Grimwood is looking for one more point, and Riffer has to put the lockjaw away because it's just not helping. Yes, they're going to trade out that damage in terms of the rush department, but they need that little bit more consistency, and the chakram is also still not giving him that at all. 300 damage from Grimwood, and it's almost like now that the lockjaw is gone, Grimwood is just coming in, not even worried about anything. They took a little bit of damage, but Riffer is already in the cusp of... He's already almost going to go down. We haven't even got past 30 seconds of this match. And Grimwood is going to take us to match 5 with an absolute dominant performance. Goodness me. That didn't look like it was in doubt. And Riffer is going to throw in a substitute. Ninjara is gone. We're going to see the return of Misango for Riffer. And we're going to crack it instead of that popper. And it is going to come out as well alongside the Coolerang. And Grimwood, well, now you have to challenge a different player now completely. And already gets the initial stun, so we'll see what Riffer can do at this position. It is 2-2 in winner's final, and both arms from Misango are already weak. That is how quick and relentless Grimwood is coming into this match. Tribolt and Roaster. Obviously, the Cracker does mean that it doesn't go as quickly as the Popper does, but it deals that little bit more damage, and also has that fire element as well, which will just completely take Coil down if it does hit. But the big emphasis there is if, because Riffer is going to go down to another rush, and Grimwood it almost looks like it's almost like Grimwood has a much easier time here, knowing full well that it's not the agile and consistently teleporting Ninjara they have to go against. It's Missandei with their triple ability to go with either the red, blue, or yellow mask, which will help them with the damage, with the speed, or with that rush capabilities, and manages to get a shock with the Megawatt. The switch is actually very much working here. The switch having a quick firing arm for the Cracker, and a heavyweight but very deadly and intimidating paralysis arm as the Megawatt is starting to slow this down into Riffer's favor. Although having said that, while the initial punch through did happen, Grimwood wasn't able to get the rest of that hit in. And now Riffer gonna be a little bit more mobile as Missandei with the blue mask equipped. But the Watt is just currently flying over Grimwood. They've been caught out by it once already. They do not want to be caught out by it again. And obviously every arm that Grimwood has here will just get completely ignored by the Megawatt. So it's crucial that Grimwood gets themselves into a position where they can utilize their arms, or they could just go with the grabs. The grabs are fine too, and it puts Riffer on the cusp of critical, make that into critical, and with both having a rush here, obviously the Megawatt will win out in the rush exchange, but Grimwood does try to commit for it, and is going to get punished as a result. Like I said, Riffer winning out on that rush exchange. The Watt just punched right on through everything. So let us see if Riffer can take this to a final point here as they just back up slowly and methodically. They have the red mask equipped as well. The Watt comes out. 10 seconds left on the clock. Grimwood knows they have to go for this. They actually got the stun, and they got the grab as well. I actually think this might pop this into the lead. I think it has. It has. Coil has stolen that away from Riffer right at the very end. The reigning champion is through to the grand final with a play that I think came out of absolute nowhere. I think Riffer must have thought that they had that absolutely fine. The stun didn't do anything to them, but the grab still came through, and that grab completely caught them by surprise, and Grimwood is going to win that match by 3 points to 2. Well, that was a set and a half, and it definitely looked like Riffer was going to get that momentum back onto their side, but wow, I think Riffer must have thought that was going to be it. That was absolutely fine and done, but no, it was not. And we are going to have ourselves a little bit of a different matchup down in the underground bracket. I say a different matchup. We're going to have a rematch because Alistar has knocked out Iceman by 2 points to 0. The number 3 seed is out. Iceman has been eliminated by Alistar, and we have the underground round 4 to deal with, and that is Replicant versus Alistar. It's a rematch of their confrontation in round 2. Replicant won that match by 2 points to 1. I do believe that match is currently underway, so we'll have to wait and see what happens down there. Can Alistar get the upset on Replicant, or are we going to see Replicant manage to make their way through and book ourselves a match between themselves and Riffer? Remember that Riffer awaits the winner of that match. The loser will finish in 4th place, just missing out on the top 3. But in terms of Grimwood, they're going to take it nice and easy now, knowing full well that they were able to get a victory over Replicant. They were able to get a victory over Riffer. They haven't fought Alistar today. They had to start off their tournament by taking out Yoshi Bowser, but you feel like Grimwood at this point probably has the confidence to be able to take on everyone. So that is what we'll be currently waiting for, to see how that one plays out. So as a result, we are going to take another short break right now. But when we do come back, my friends, it will be time for the top 3 for reals this time. It'll be best of 5s from here on out. And it will be Riffer to go up against the winner of Replicant versus Alistar. My friends, I hope you are enjoying yourselves. Feel free to make sure you share the tweet. And yeah, I'll see you all in a moment, my friends. Don't go away! Okay. Sorry. Okay, my friends, we are going to be back, and we are actually going to have a very interesting situation on our hands, and it's a shame that I wasn't able to cast the Underground semi-final, because I would have loved to have been able to call this. Alistar, for the second time, has made it into top 3. They have managed to best Replicant by 2 points to 1, and as a result, they will be going up against Riffer. There we go. And we are going to be set and ready to go for that match pretty much right now. So it will be Alistar going up against Riffer in Underground Final for a place in Grands. And bearing in mind that Alistar has never made it to Grand Final before, so it's all to play for here. But we know that this is Riffer we're talking about, and Riffer is relentless. And Riffer is gonna have to take out a coil to get there. Could you imagine if we get a coil ditto? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got a whole best of 5 to go through before we even think about that. Riffer on the left of your screen coming in as Ninjara. Alistar as coil on the right hand side of your screen. Triblast Ice Dragon going up against Toaster and the Funchuck. And once again, we are going to see the return of Mausoleum, and love the fact that the Chuck is able to just take the Dragon out before it even gets deployed. And that's what Riffer's going to have to be careful of. Not just the fact that the Toaster will just floor them, but if 2 Funchucks are coming their way, one of them is going to take out the Dragon, the other could go in for the stun. So Riffer has to just keep on moving as much as they can. Rush comes out, nothing but chip damage, and a nice little cheeky stun does catch up with Riffer in the end, 220. And Alistar going to do everything they can to annoy Riffer and take them off his game. The Ice Dragon not going to land on anything for this one, as Alistar just plays as patiently as possible. Does manage to get an initial flick on, but finally the Dragon does get up to speed and actually takes Coil down. Arm weak on the left hand side, and there it goes, broken down, and the bolts get a nice free hit in despite Alistar trying to go in with the punish, or at least the stoppage anyway, with the Funchuck. Riffer down into critical condition, and again the rush is going to come on through, and Riffer does actually get caught by it in the end. It's a little bit damage. It puts Riffer a punch away from going down. 20 seconds left on the clock. Alistar does have a health lead, just about able to stay above, and finally the Toaster flings on in. Alistar did go into critical towards the end there, but just bit by bit, Alistar was able to chip away and just about hold on there. So far, Riffer got it all to do, but this is Riffer we're talking about. If anybody can do it, it most certainly is going to be Riffer, and the rush will land on all accounts, but it's going to get caught out with the stun, and Alistar was just about in range to come in with the grab combination as well. Rush is available for them too, so it's just going to be the case of if they can get close enough, or maybe if they can get a stun and then come in with the rush, or they could just do that, just rush straight in, deflect the bolts out of existence, and that is going to put Riffer on the cusp of critical. Having said that though, Alistar going to join them there as well, and the trampoline is out. And again, Alistar won't really worry too much about the fact that the trampoline is up. They'll just hover on over it, but having said that, it's Riffer who's operating much better here with the trampoline out, consistently walling off Coil with the slam, and down they go. Eventually Riffer gonna tie this up 1 point apiece, and we'll see what the response is gonna be. Alistar gonna keep that Funchuck on the right hand side. Riffer gonna keep with the bolts and the slams, and so far, like I said, Alistar went to start floating over the trampoline, and again, they'll just shield on top of it. And this is what I mean by Coil just flat out ignores the fact that the trampoline is even there, and Riffer is going to get caught a little bit there. 165 damage, but not as much as Alistar would have liked. Having said that though, they followed up with a Burchuck and a 1-2 hit, and they're going to miss the entirety of Riffer's rush, and well, just like that, Alistar turned that momentum right onto its head, and Riffer tried to go for a trampoline play of their own, but again, Alistar is able to punish a lot better with that than Riffer can. And the toast is going to hit as well, and again, Alistar now realizing they've got the confidence to maybe go in for a little bit more of a close range, and the teleport did not help Riffer in the slightest. Right back into the center they went, and Alistar is going to take the first point of this best of 5 set. Alistar has never made it to Grand Final. They desperately want to add their name onto that honor, but they've still got a long way to go. It's still early days, it's still just the 1-0 lead. Anything can change, and we've seen Riffer come back time and time again, and obviously no greater sense of that than the previous set, where we saw Riffer take the lead after going 1-0 down, taking the lead to make it 2-1, and then Grimwood just slowly but surely coming back into it and taking that win in the end, especially at the skin of his teeth, it must be said, especially how that Misango fight went. So Alistar will know that, but they've also got that little bit of confidence here to go with what they have, and we're going to see a slight change of pace here from Riffer. We are going to ditch Mausoleum and we are going to go to Buster Beach. Does this mean a switch encounter? No, it does not. Riffer will stick with Ninjara, but they must feel like they're going to be able to play a little bit better here according to Alistar's playstyle. This will remain to be seen, and we are going to see Riffer come back out with the Ice Dragon alongside the Tri-Blast. And Alistar, meanwhile, is pretty much going to stick with their guns. Also, the Toaster and the Funchuck. And it is going to be Riffer who is just going to make a little base in the Hot Pocket for the time being. They'll not want to be there too long. But so far, the bolts are proven to be consistent here. Certainly a lot more than they were in Mausoleum. It's almost like they feel like because of how Alistar plays, the way that they're not moving as frequently as Grimwood is. They've got a bit more places to be able to fire on in with the bolts. And Alistar decides, you know what, I'm going to rush early and deals that 300 damage and pops that health just that little bit more level. Riffer does have their rush well, they did have it, but now they don't because they're going to use it just a little too early. Alistar was prepared for it. And slowly but surely, they're coming back into this match. The bolts, however, are still proven to be Alistar's Achilles heel at the moment. Because so far, every single time they are able to come on through, they're normally either charged or the dragon just comes in for punish. Having said that, though, 305 damage, it puts Riffer on the cusp of a KO. One more hit from Alistar is all they're looking for. The dragon just about trying to find a little bit of lick of flame, just to slide on in there. And they were just out of range there as well. I don't often say that about the dragon. It was just out of range. I thought Riffer might have got some damage through, but in the end, Alistar held on. 10 seconds left to go, and Riffer takes the health lead here. It's all down to what plays out here. 3 seconds on the clock. Oh my goodness! Alistar goes down to literally 1 HP and just throws a punch at the end of the rush and caught Riffer completely by surprise. And they will be kicking themselves for that. Alistar takes a point where they honestly probably thought they weren't going to get it, but they did. And they are also going to start off very strong here, already getting Riffer on the cusp of half health. And Alistar must be just rocking in confidence right now as they put the pressure on to Riffer. The dragon and the bolts are still going to just clean up house. And the bolt, good wake-up read from Riffer. And again, the bolts are consistently firing on through, and it's what is dealing the most damage to Alistar. Of that, there is no doubt. It's not really the dragon that's doing the damage. It is very much the bolt. Another rush comes out, 290. Riffer does have a rush to go and immediately flies in. Does actually get a hit with the dragon. And here comes the rest of the rush, which will KO because, let's face it, the dragon laser does so much damage as a rush. And it's going to take it away from Coil. We're going to tie this up again, 1 point apiece. And what will be the call from Alistar? Nope, not going to switch anything. Toaster and Funchuck is still going to be the way to go. And Riffer going to keep with that dragon as well. It did very much help give them that point in the end. And another chain trying to get set up for Riffer. Tried to go for the ice chain, but not going to happen this time around. Alistar just waited it out. And again, they trade punches this time around, but this is not where Riffer wants to be. Thankfully, does get very fortunate with the grab, and Alistar knows full well that if they can keep Riffer in this position, they can absolutely punish this. Another grab pops them all the way up, and just look at how consistent Alistar is flinging on in with. Shield is going to pop them into the corner, 105, puts them onto the cusp of critical. And remember, Riffer doesn't really get much of the rush build-up as other fighters would do because the shield just immediately activates the teleport. Arm weak on the left-hand side, and Riffer could go for a potential shield break, but knowing full well that Alistar could still yet block it. Toaster does hit, pops Riffer into critical. Bolt will come on through as well. Alistar has the health lead and is slowly but surely charging up that rush. And you just feel like it's only a matter of time before they manage to take this away from Riffer. Rush will break one arm and weakens up the other one. Grab gonna get deflected for the time being. 20 seconds on the clock. Alistar has the slight advantage here and actually loses it. They went for the rush. I don't know what caught him. It must have been an explosion. But Riffer goes down even further. One more punch is all Alistar is looking for. 8 seconds left on the clock. Riffer is not going to get Rush in time. Alistar cannot afford to throw this away. Or can they? Rush is going to come out. Shield dodged Point to Coil. They'll cake it in the end. Riffer sensed an opportunity, went for the grab, but all Coil had to do was move to the right-hand side. And Alistar has a 2-point lead in the Underground final. Could Alistar do it? Could Alistar make history and book their ticket into the grand final for the first time? Well, for Riffer to make sure that doesn't happen, they have to reverse sweep this. This is going to be the difference between an all-former winner grand final to seeing someone who has never won this cup before make it into grand final. It's a massive moment right here and now, and Alistar, well, I've said Riffer might be kicking themselves from that first play, but this is really starting to get to that point where Riffer has to do something special. And let's face it, we know he's capable of it because we've seen him do this time and time again. But it would be historic. Of that, there is no doubt. The last time we had a player make it into Grands who hasn't won a cup before was Cosolina. That was back in the 52nd Cup, so it's not been that. It's been a pretty recent affair, but this would absolutely be just as special. The bans from Alistar are going to stay the same, and remember that even if Riffer does get a point back, they then have to go up against a stage of Alistar's choosing. Yes, they'll be able to ban the next 2 stages if they do win the point, but Alistar will still get to pick from another stage that they prefer. Riffer coming back in with Ninjara, Alistar sticking with the Coil. Mausoleum is coming up. I can't tell you how important these next few points are going to be. Alistar, Toaster, Funchuck, Riffer gonna drop the Ice Dragon, go in to the windiest of slaps, and immediately starts as they mean to go on with not just 1 but 2 successful hits with the charged up slam. Finally, they do get a little bit of damage from the Toaster, but it's not as much as they'll be absolutely fine with it because again, 3 charged up hits from the slams, and if they can keep this momentum going, they'll keep Alistar second guessing and maybe just edge in that little bit of downtime, show why the experience is very much there and on Riffer's side. But having said that, Alistar is not going to go quietly. They are going to try and play as aggressively as they can, and Rush is going to come out as well. But unfortunately, this stage does kind of prefer Riffer's escape pattern, since there's no real corners to get trapped around, so they could just consistently teleport around. But having said that though, Alistar is slowly chaining these hits up here, and the Toaster is going to just pinch them out again. Into critical goes Riffer. Rush is going to land and do a whole lot of damage, 385, because they get the little 20 poke on the side as well. And Alistar knows full well that they almost went straight into that and actually commits to the rush here. A brave plan from Alistar, but they made it work. They charged up the rush, I think a lot quicker than Riffer was expecting. This is set point. This is set point for Alistar. Alistar will have 2 chances at this here to wrap this up at a 3-0, but they're going to immediately go down, and the bolts are still proven to be so hard for Alistar to properly deal with. The bolts just keep hitting a lot more than I think they'd like them to. The slam, not going to hit on this occasion, shielded out. Riffer is just thinking about going for a lot more of aggressive pokes, and the bolts, as long as they keep exploding in Coil's face, is going to make sure that Alistar just can't do anything about it. But the rushes are going to hit this time, trying to go for the little quick weed, but it's not going to happen. Alistar already past the halfway mark and wakes up into another explosive bolt. Riffer has such a high health lead. I don't think I'll be seeing Alistar use the rush anytime soon, especially since Riffer just has so much momentum on their side right here. but Alistar is still trying to claw something back. Does get the self-destruct on the Tri-Blast, just about missing on the grab follow-up on this occasion. And Riffer is actually just trying to overwork Alistar here. They're just building up their rush, and then they're going to just take this into the final point and maybe see if they can just start swinging this back into their favor. 25 seconds on the clock. Funchuck is going to connect, and Alistar realizing that they are only one punch away. They can't really take any more damage, but the slam finally comes out. And both players will have rush ready. It is still set point for Alistar here. And Alistar is going to go double toaster, which essentially means that Alistar is going triple coaster? Toaster. Wow, I've got C on the brain now, haven't I? And Riffer starts as they mean to go on with another successful slam. That poke not charged on this occasion, but you feel like the second Riffer gets any sniff of that charge going through, they will go for the rush. But unfortunately, it will be Alistar who starts off with the rush damage first, and also catches out with the self-destruct in the process. A bit unfortunate there for Riffer. The last thing they needed, any kind of momentum that could shift to Alistar, they will absolutely take. Does manage to get the knockdown, but again jumps right back in to the path of all of those toasters, and they were way too close. Riffer was way too close to Alistar to take advantage of that. The rush was shut down immediately. Arm weak on the left-hand side. The bolts are still flying on through, and the rush is going to come out as well, but it stopped. I think the explosion must have taken it away from Alistar, so it's anyone's guess as to where this will go. Toaster does hit square in the center of Riffer. Another 1-2 punch. Alistar is a punch away. Alistar's in grand final. Alistar, for the first time, is in the Challenge Cup Grand Final! The call that will be heard around the community, and it's not just making it to Grand Final, it's making it there by beating Riffer, of all people, by 3 points to 0. Do not scratch your eyes. You are absolutely seeing the most extraordinary prospects here, because in the grand final, we have the reigning champion and 5-time winner, Grimwood, going up against a player who has never won it at all, let alone beating grand final, Alistar. And that probably means it's going to be a coil ditto. Can someone get in touch with Donna Burke? Can someone tell Donna that that she's in another ditto final? Because, oh boy, I didn't see this coming in the EU scene, but it's happening. It's happening now. Wow. Oh my word. She's offline. Ah! Oh, dear me. Well, so here's how this is going to play out. Grand final is coming up, my friends. It is between Grimwood and Alistar. Here's how this will work. It is still double elimination. It is still double elimination. Grimwood has not lost a set so far. Alistar has. If Grimwood can beat Alistar, the tournament is over. Grimwood will successfully retain their title and win it for the 6th time. If Alistar beats Grimwood, we reset the bracket. It's as simple as that. Alistar will have to beat Grimwood in 2 best-of-5 sets if they want to make history and win their first ever Challenge Cup on their first time of making it to the grand final. Am I in control of the... No, I'm not in control. My friends, I hope you're sitting comfortably. This is going to be a ride. It's not going to be a coil ditto. Grimwood is coming in with Max Brass. Alistar on the left of your screen as Coil, Grimwood on the right as Brass. And immediately Alistar starts off with all of the toasters and quickly takes Grimwood down. And obviously Grimwood is more of a heavier character with the Brass as a result. So the fire elements are going to be crucial to keeping Brass on his toes. But Grimwood going to see to it that the Tri-Blast will continue to annoy Alistar for as long as they live. Goodness me, did you ever think that this would be the final you'd be watching today? Well, both players with Rush ready to go, and Alistar saw an opportunity, but unfortunately Grimwood was already on the way back down. Both arms weakened up, and no punish on this occasion. It's going to be all control from Grimwood at the initial time of asking. Bolts are just going to bounce off the shield, but this time they'll explode right into Alistar's face. And every single time Grimwood has a moment, they just immediately buff up with Brass and just make those punches that little bit harder. But at the same time, they do make that hitbox a little bit bigger, but Alistar just has not been able to find a way through just yet. And unfortunately, is going to just stash right on into that roaster. And Grimwood is going to take the initiative in this best of 5, showing why they are the reigning champion. Funchuck is now going to come out on the side of Alistar, but immediately goes down at the hands of that roaster. And it's such a deadly combination from Grimwood, and Alistar is just not prepared for it in the slightest. Another attempt for the rake up grab, not going to get it on this occasion. Grimwood's just not afraid to just consistently spam the grab button here. But the Tri-Blast again is just going to pop Alistar right on down. Alistar is going to at least let that grab go to the distance before coming in with the rush. And they kind of have to here because they have to do everything they can to keep their chances alive. But Grimwood is just, you feel like a couple of punches away from just leading the set right from the get-go. But Alistar going to force a self-destruct on the Tri-Blast, and finally the grab does come through, and obviously Brass gives the biggest of hugs, and they're going to give a second round for good measure. Everybody likes Max Brass hugs, but I could guarantee you Coil certainly doesn't. Grimwood will start this grand final with a 1-0 lead. Alistar has been doing so well, but they have not fought against a Brass on Grimwood's kind of level, and we are going to see VoD coming in as a counter pick, which is going to be very interesting considering the fact that Brass is able to just wall out. Like, you thought Coil could wall out with all of those bolts and shenanigans with the double arms, but Max Brass, the second he bulks up, and VoD is quite the small stage when you just get cut off into those respective squares in the corners. My goodness me, it can absolutely change everything. So, both fighters are going to be ready to go. It looks like both fighters are set. We are going to be going to VoD, as I said. And for Alistar, they need to be able to find a way of just jumping around. Oh, I don't have control. I think Alistar keeps forgetting that they have to be the ones to switch the stage. It's like that sometimes. Unfortunately, because Riffer was the host of the previous lobby, it went to Alistar, not me. So we're just like, it's not me. I'm not responsible for the stage change. It's funny like that though. It's absolutely fine. But no, we are gonna get ourselves primed and ready to go. So next match coming up, Grimwood will stay as Max Brass. Alistar gonna switch from the Coil into Twin Tail. I haven't really seen Alistar with the Twin Tail. In fact, this is the first time this tournament we have seen the Twin Tail coming out from Alistar. Yeah, it's going to be Ram Ram and Roaster on the side of Alistar. And we're going to go up against Double Nade from Grimwood. So good old unguided goodness and big old explosive as well. But Alistar immediately in with a grab, just quickly throws Grimwood to the side, and very different way of playing here. Obviously Twintail has the Actress Aura, just slows down everything around her and gives her a chance to come in and either go in for a shield or maybe just go for the grab as well, because they could probably punish from there. The double nades are going to be very hard to fling on through. The Ram can curve around them, but it's just going to be a case of can it hit before the nades get even remotely close. Rush is going to come out, and in that kind of close quarter combat, Grimwood is not going to lose that kind of exchange. But Rush is going to come out from Alistar and drops Grimwood into critical here. Now Brass does enter that perma buff status, and this is going to be where all of the aggression is going to be on Grimwood's side. So Alistar has to play this very, very carefully. Does get a poke with the roaster. Unfortunately, it wasn't charged. They would have really done with that, and it's not going to happen as a result. The nades just come powering on through, and Grimwood will take another point lead here. We're going to switch out the Ram for a Chiller, which is an interesting position moment there, because I honestly thought the Ram was working, and obviously the curve tool does come back around, and obviously the fire element means that Brass is just going to lose that buff the second they drop onto the floor. But I guess Alistar feel like the Chiller might be able to strip the abilities and stall them out a little bit more, but so far Grimwood, with just successful read after successful read, gets another grab opportunity. Finally does go down to the Rush, but look at the health difference already, and Brass is just playing so aggressively here. Every single time they're up in Alistar's face and just goes for the grab, and Alistar just cannot do anything about it. Grimwood is not even close to the halfway mark, and well, one rush will do it, and one rush does do it, and Grimwood has a 2-point lead in this set. Grimwood has the confidence, they have the momentum to just put this to bed and win this grand final with a clean 3-0. So it's all up to Alistar to try and find a way of changing this strategy, because so far Grimwood has this done and dusted. Brass is just proving too much at the moment for Alistar, both as a coil and as Twintail. And unfortunately, I have to say that the Chiller change did not help them in the slightest. The Ram was at least giving them some kind of purchase, curving around the nades, but Grimwood just had an answer for it every time. So we'll see what happens this time around. Remember that the winner does not announce any character well, the winner has to announce a character change, the loser does not. We're going to see DNA Lab, and it's going to be Alistar coming back on in with the coil. Can Brass round this out and give Grimwood his 6th ever crown, or will Alistar find a way of reverse sweeping and keeping their chances alive? Well, Brass starts off with immense confidence and goes in for the grab on the get-go, and Alistar, well, definitely wasn't expecting it, gets caught in it straight away. Tribolt's off to the left-hand side, and Alistar just waits for them to go. What have we got on this time round for Alistar? We've got the nade and the toaster, so fiery goodness and explosive goodness, and obviously Grimwood does have that Tri-Blast coming back in to keep Coil second guessing, and obviously, like I said, Alistar has been really worn down by the Tri-Blast throughout this tournament, so they've been doing exceptionally well to stay alive so long, but 335, they are just a punch away from going down already. Grimwood just operating on a completely different level, and they're going to just hide behind that tube and just let it drop, knowing full well that they have all the time in the world here. They just need one more punch, and that is all they need. Another quick little 1-2. Finally does get something with the nade as well. And now Alistar's starting to slowly tip this onto the side, but they know they have to be careful, because if the bolt comes through, it's going to be all for naught. And it means that this is championship point for Grimwood. Tri-Blast Roaster going to be the call. Once again, nade and toaster staying on in for Alistar. They were certainly picking up the confidence the later that match went on, but it felt like that they just unfortunately left it too late. Rush will come out, and the grab from Grimwood again. Just the sheer confidence to go for that, knowing full well that they can land it and get away with it. And Alistar could not get away from that rush either. 335 down to the halfway line they go. and Alistar is slowly seeing their championship chances slip away. Does manage to get a hit in with the toaster and forces a self-destruct as well on the Tri-Blast. And so far they're actually turning this back again onto its head and does force the arm to break, but they can't punish. Alistar just can't find a way of punishing with it, and they get the rush going, but again, again they can't properly seal it. And whilst they do force the arm to break and get a little bit more damage, Grimwood is just about staying afloat. And remember, a rush from Grimwood right now will absolutely KO. Alistar goes into critical, does get a good decent grab in there, and now Grimwood is going to be in very big time scary mode. Rush doesn't come through though. Alistar is going to block this out for the most part, but a punch, anything from Grimwood will deal the dirt. And the rush is going to come in once again, but it's not even going to weaken the shield. It doesn't take out any of the arms. A punch comes through, but the blast is going to hit, and in its charged up state, it deals the damage first and then explodes for the additional bonus. It catches Alistar out. It's a 3-0 sweep for Grimwood in the end. Grimwood retains the Challenge Cup crown. The first time we've had a successful defense since Riffer defended it from 47, 48, and 49. Alistar makes it to the grand final for the first time ever, but is not able to score a point in the set. They lose it in a straight 3-0 against Grimwood. Commiserations, but still an amazing achievement from Alistar. Congratulations all around. Honestly, it was a joy to behold to see Alistar get that far, beating Riffer of all people in Underground final. Unfortunately losing out, but still an amazing performance this competition. But it is going to be Grimwood who takes away that cup and adds on another to their tally. So the official standings of the Challenge Cup are going to be like this. It's going to be Grimwood winning it, retaining the title with a 3-0 win. Alistar second place, their first time in the grand final. Massive congratulations all around. Riffer will at least take third position, and Replicant missing out on the top 3 will end in 4th position. Before you all go, however, before I declare this tournament officially over, I have a little surprise for you.
Oh, we have a quiet little.
Ooh,
Oh no.
this is gonna be spicy.
I hope you don't disappoint once again. I really hope you don't. That's right, Mosh Pit 2 is coming up. If you have not joined in already, Riffer does have the site up, challenge.com/themoshpit2. You can sign up over there, and do remember that donations are still going in to contribute to the prize pool as well. So I hope you're all looking forward to it. I will be helping out once again. I have been asked if I can commentate, and I am absolutely going to be looking forward to doing exactly that. It promises to be a lot of fun, no matter what happens. I think we currently have, what was it? I think we had 12 people when I last checked. We might have some more signing up between now and next Saturday, so hopefully you will all join in. It will be ran over here, over at twitch.tv/EU_arms, so I hope you will all be looking forward to it. But without further ado, this is the end of the Challenge Cup segment. Thank you once again for all the players who came in to take part. To all of you for tuning in, whether it be here on Twitch Live or over at YouTube via EU Arms Competitive. Wherever you are watching this, it is very nice to have you here. I have been Tamashi Kancho. You can find me on all social media under the exact same name. And obviously you've got at European_arms and the YouTube as well. And obviously our Twitch, EU_arms. If you would like to join in the Discord for a little bit of chit chat, some advice if you want to come into arms, especially for tournaments as well, remember that new players are absolutely welcome here. The description down below will give you all the information you need. So without further ado, we will see you next Saturday for Mosh Pit. And until then, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and stay fresh.